Hello everyone and welcome back to the Watchverse. Today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Paradise, but it's not just going to be my thoughts, because today I'm joined by KWAME, also known as the Watchlist.
Yes. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Okay, we're going to get into all things Parasite today.
Paradise.
We're going to get into all things Paradise. That's my Bong Joon-ho life.
Yeah,
My
that's
brain.
on the brain. It's
A long week. A long week. Yeah, we're going to get into all things Paradise. Talk through the full season as a whole. How are we feeling?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been a long time since a series has grabbed me the way this first series did. Like, I'm a big fan of Sterling K. Brown. I'm a big fan of James Marsden. Like, that alone kind of had me intrigued. I vaguely remember a lot of the like promotions as well leading up to it, and like I didn't really know much about it, but they did a good job on the marketing with me anyway. So I was really excited going in. Ultimately, I would say they didn't let me down. Like, I was hooked the entire 5-6 weeks it's been out now. So it's crazy to think that 6 weeks have just absolutely disappeared, right?
Yeah, it's been an incredible for you. It's been an incredible watching experience. For me, I did the first 7 in 24 hours. I had to wait a week for the finale.
That's actually still very insane to me. I remember speaking
I
to
was
you. You're like, I'm going to start it.
last year. It's commonly known that I slacked off TV shows last year. I only watched 5 shows last year, which is
5 shows in a
abysmal.
year.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was
Okay.
a
No judgment.
long year. But one thing with me for shows is I really struggle to get hooked by a pilot episode.
Mm.
I can get through a pilot episode, but then I'm like, I don't really want to move on to the next one. Like, there's nothing there that's like, I need to see where this goes. The minute Paradise episode 1 ended, I watched it on a train,
Mhm.
and I didn't have the next episode downloaded, and I was fuming because episode 1 is so well crafted.
That's
Every
insane.
episode is so well crafted, but the ending of episode 1 is just like, hook. You
Yeah,
got me.
100%. I remember like when it came out, it was a Wednesday. It was obviously came out on a Tuesday, and I was working from home that day. And I was like, "Oh, it's my lunch break. This show looks great. Let me just throw on the first episode just to see what it's saying, and then I'll get back to it when I feel like it." Safe to say, not much work got done the rest of the afternoon. Like, my mouth was like gaped open the moment I saw the big reveal at the end of the first episode, right? And like, I'm like you, like, if an episode, I think a show should grab you, like, not immediately, but people who tell me it takes 5, 6, 7 episodes for you to get into a show, I think it's not really doing the greatest job if it takes that long for you to get invested.
Yeah.
But this series was the opposite. Like, I was hooked from episode 1. Like, it was just absolutely phenomenal, so well crafted out. The characters were just amazing. Like, Sterling K. Brown was doing his thing. James Marsden is just so charismatic. Like, you had to set with, like, it was just great. It was just great.
James Marsden is a great actor,
Oh,
but sir, I was not familiar with your game.
yeah, bro. Because to me, he will always be Cyclops, right? Like, that's probably the
Yeah.
first thing I actually remember him being in, like, and me taking notice of him as an actor, right? So he's always going to be Cyclops.
Yeah.
How he's gone from that to this, or to, let's say, have Sonic 3 come out this year, and then also have this come out this year, it's like, what kind of range does this man even have?
Yeah.
To have these two kind of projects out ultimately at the same time. It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
He's so good. I mean, although we are talking about the series as a whole, one thing we need to get into for the series as a whole is the Sterling K. Brown, the actor that you
I don't
he
know
will
what it is. He's my guy. I love Sterling K. Brown. In this, I love him as an actor. I felt connected to him. It felt like family. It felt like family to me. I think I just wanted us to be related. That's basically what it is. But like, he was just amazing from start to finish.
Yeah, he's like by far one of my favorite actors right now. I mean, I got asked the other day on TikTok Live, which I started doing. Make sure to go follow on the TikTok, the little plug there. And someone said, "What's your dream acting duo to see in a film?" And for me, I want to see a dark, gritty thriller with Sterling K. Brown and Coleman Domingo.
Oh, That would be sensational. I think they would play
Like,
off each other so well. I guess
yeah.
I would want to extend that by asking you in what capacity, right? Is it them playing two sides of the opposite coin, like the antagonist and protagonist, or as a duo together?
Ooh, I want to see them play off each other's antagonist, protagonist, but I want Common Domingo to be the antagonist because I haven't really seen him do that yet.
Yeah, see, to be honest, I was thinking the opposite, but I'd be happy with either. I think,
The only reason I say the opposite is purely because Sterling is the protagonist in
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true. It's
That's
true.
the only thing.
It's
But
true.
I really want to see a dark role from Common Domingo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be
When
an
he was moving
amazing,
for like
amazing
Tang
show.
and stuff, I was like, give me this, give me this.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. Anyway, yeah, no, that was a very good question actually. That I would love to see that if that came about. Imagine if we get Coleman Domingo in season 2 of Paradise. Do
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Big man
Imagine
anger.
he's playing like some kind of leader of some apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic like rebel group or something.
Yeah,
Who knows? Right? You know,
yeah,
or
nice.
even imagine he's playing like the person that his wife's been kind of shacked up with for the last 4 years since the
Yeah, that would
events
be
kind of went
crazy.
down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That would even be incredible to see, right? Um.
yeah,
So yeah. Anyway.
yeah. So we sort of touched on episode 1. We spoke a bit beforehand. We were saying how series episode 2 to 6 is incredible storytelling. Some of the greatest storytelling you'll see on television ever. The twists, the turns,
Mm-hmm.
the nuances of the narrative is fantastic. But those 6 episodes, as great as they are just kind of progressing the plot,
Yeah,
doing the
100%,
normal stuff you would expect.
100%. Like, for lack of a better phrase, there's always got to be filler in a series, right? And I think, I think to be honest, Paradise's filler has been probably stronger than most, and like, there's been like some really, really strong like episodes within that range. Like, I think it's episode 4 when we really get to see them delve deep into Cal and his dad's relationship, and that was like a really good episode
Yeah,
to watch, just to kind of see how it kind of started, how it's developed, how essentially Cal's entire life has been based on gaining his father's approval, and he will never know that he has it because he's dead now. Do you know what I mean? So like, and also just that and the juxtaposition between Cal's relationship with his own son as well. So like, you know, that just seeing the relationships between that was really, really cool. Also, obviously, the reveal about Billy Pace, I think that was episode 4, actually. Billy Pace dying,
yeah,
and the reveal that he was actually like Hiller on Sinatra's payroll. Like, that was
yeah.
a bit of a mind, that kind of mind, like
'Cause
mind
that's
messed me up as well. So,
Yeah, because that's another thing for me. It's like, although it was filler, we were diving deep into characters
yeah,
that we then never saw again.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But it was all needed
yeah,
because the payoff was great.
yeah, it really was. It really,
So
really was.
while these mid episodes we're saying, not mid as in mid, like the
For
middle
me.
of the series,
Yeah,
while we're saying that we're going to sort of not skip over them, but we're not going to talk as deep into them, is because they just do the necessary things to get the
mm-hmm,
cogs turning to
mm-hmm.
craft these final episodes that were so good. But definitely, we're not saying that episode 1's amazing and it's got a good end. It is strong throughout.
Right, yeah.
Just the highlights sit at either end, but there's
I would
so
agree.
many
Yeah,
highlights.
I would agree. I would agree. Like 100%. Look, the reveals between 1-7 were sensational. Yeah, episodes 2 to 6 are necessary, and there's enough in those episodes to keep you engaged. Right, like you're not going to be upset with what you see. You're going to feel connected to the people that you meet, whether or not you see them again or not. The amount of theories that I had in between those episodes was just wild. I was wrong about every single one.
Mm.
And I like to think that I catch things on quite quickly, and I was literally wrong every single time. And I shouldn't say that so pridefully as well, but it's just indicative of how much I love the show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So yeah, like people aren't going to be disappointed with those middle episodes whatsoever.
Absolutely
It's
not.
just, it's such a well crafted out show.
Oh, it's so good.
But episode 7 is also episode 7. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's go right into that now. Episode 7. This is probably where you get the most of your reveals.
Yeah.
Most of your shocks.
Yeah.
But also probably your best performances.
From,
Notably
yeah.
and shockingly, James Marsden.
Honestly, I've never seen, and if you've not seen it, spoiler alert, but I've not seen the world ending in such a poignant fashion in my entire
That's
life.
what I'm saying. It was so good.
Like, I felt like I was there and I was feeling everything that was happening through every character. James Marsden 100% was a highlight, but even the characters who were in it for 5 minutes were just amazing. You had the White House aide whose son was like disabled and she was trying to get him help.
Yeah.
The desperation she felt in that
The
moment.
the cleaner in the White
The
House.
cleaner, yeah, who's just like, it's another day, I just keep it pushing.
That was a great character moment for James Marsden.
100%. 100%.
You saw, like, for lack of better words, he's come across as a bit of an asshole.
Yeah, 100%.
But you see that moment, it's like, this guy cares.
Yeah.
Or he used to care until I'm selfish.
Yeah, yeah. He was human. And I think it really harkens back to the fact that he never wanted to be president. He wanted to be somebody who helped people. He wants to be a teacher, right? And in the moment where he had to make a decision, which was self-preservation or give humanity a chance, it happened twice, right? Like, he chose to tell people what was really happening, even though he knew that by telling people, everything could go up in flames. And he tried to help the old man, the cleaner, get to your family. He's like, no, it's all good. I've seen this before. I've been here before. Like, you're completely right. Like, it really showcased who he was as a person.
Yeah. I mean, as I said last year, I fumbled the bag with TV shows. I'm not proud of it, but here we are. New year, new me. I've already seen more shows this year than I have last year, which is hilarious to me. I mean, that shouldn't have been hard.
Yeah, it's not hard with 5, to be honest.
But I would honestly, I've seen a lot of shows. I would honestly put episode 7 in the top 10 greatest TV show episodes I've ever seen.
You know, I was having this conversation literally yesterday, right? And it's like, because I said the same thing. I was like, I think it's definitely one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen in my life. I've not seen every TV show, but I think if I was to see it in a list in like the top 20, 30 best all-time episodes, it wouldn't upset me at all. And that's in history. Do you know what I mean? So it's saying something. Like, it's
always going to be stuff you haven't seen.
It's just so good. Like, just heart-wrenching, and like, I don't know. I've never felt so connected to watching something. And so, like, I felt like I could see them. I was there. I was with them. And, like, so many moments where, like, you felt like you were almost going into the compound with them and you felt just as guilty not telling them. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though it's all fictionalized, you're just, it's crazy. It was crazy.
It's just such a, like, the simple scenes, just on the plane, he's looking at the monitor and he's seeing them fly in.
Yeah.
There's a moment, and this is me going off on a very small tangent, and weirdly, don't actually think it happens in this episode at all. But the songs that play at the end of every episode build up the tension so much. It's one of the greatest things of this show.
Yeah. Soundtrack was elite, and also the versions of songs that they choose to play as well. Like I think at the end of episode 1, they were playing the Paradise song. I can't remember the name of the song now, which is atrocious to me. But obviously, that's not the original version of the song. But their version sounds so haunting, and like, even though it's done in such a light and, idyllic way, which sounds like it should be nice to listen to, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't feel all the way right. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
I think they really use
They
music to set the tone in a great way. So
they play it again at the end of the finale,
yeah,
right?
yeah, they do. They do. Like it
Yeah.
just sets the tone. And again, I think playing it at the start and at the end, right? It just shows like whatever's outside, again, it could just be it's gonna be probably just as bad as what he's leaving behind him. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so again, it's just so like intriguing, like how they utilize
Yeah.
music
And
and
where is this
soundtrack.
all going?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like the
That's
way
what
they also really do an amazing job at the start of every episode. Like everything they highlight harkens back. And like episode 7 was like the best version of that I saw because the
Mhm.
opening scene with the colonel talking to his wife in the moment made no sense until the very end when the big reveal about the EMP was there. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, wow, you really have to pay attention. Like you wouldn't even have known who this colonel was. There was no face to a name, but now he mentions the story about the colonel who felt like this plan. You now have a
Yeah.
face. You knew what he was thinking in that moment,
Mhm.
and it's just like, oh wow, like everything really is connected, like really connected.
Yeah.
That was great.
It's like before we get into the finale, because that's probably where we're gonna head to next, one thing we kinda skipped over was the end of episode 6 when we're told that his wife's alive.
Yeah, yeah,
I was just like, there's the problem is as well with this show, everything has such credibility to it. Like any other show, your wife's alive, surprise,
yeah, yeah,
would not
yeah,
work.
yeah.
But because of how this is built up and because of how many unknowns there are,
Mm,
it's so believable.
yeah, yeah. Like I didn't when she did the reveal. I felt like I felt like she was telling the truth in that moment, right?
Yeah.
Like there was no point that I thought this is just a play. Because I feel like if it was a play, it's too easy, right? But it did make me
Oh, yeah.
wonder, how did she know who she was? And then obviously when she plays the recorder in episode 7 and
Yeah.
she says her name, it's like, okay, cool, that makes sense. But yeah, there is definitely a level of credibility just shone throughout
Mm.
the entire episode. And
Yeah.
also, like, because of how long Xavier had kind of held on and took responsibility for her death, right? And
Mhm.
you finally feel like he's starting to move on with Dr. Tarabi after the events of the 3rd episode and the whole shower
Yeah.
scene, right? It holds that much more weight, the notion that she's actually alive. Because
Yeah.
I can imagine that a big plot point of season 2 could be him dealing with the fact that he started to move on and she was alive the whole time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just so much, yeah, like, weight to it with that reveal. So that was absolutely massive in episode 6, I feel.
Yeah. Before we get into the finale, shout out to Julianne Nicholson as
Oh, legend.
Sinatra.
Legend.
So
Do you want to know how much she bamboozled me? At the start of the season, I thought she was like a victim in all of this. Like I knew that obviously she was the person responsible for it, but I thought maybe she's also being manipulated. Like I felt sympathetic to her at the start of the series. And yeah, she was just tapped in a very, very, very big way. So
the way I smiled at a certain scene in the finale made me feel sadistic because of how much I became to hate her.
was it the end of the episode where she's in hospital? Yeah, I thought so. I thought so.
Mhm.
I thought so.
That was
Oh,
giddy.
gosh, that's hilarious. She did an amazing job playing a villain who was
Yeah.
sympathetic, right? But she was unraveling the whole time. And like she would do she was gonna do absolutely anything to keep control of what was happening there. Like
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
and she was she was just steadily more and more just going crazy with it. Yeah, no, she was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Like good villain, but still felt quite human. She didn't feel untouchable, which was actually quite nice to watch as well.
Yeah. A
Yeah,
villain with a villain with feeling is what we
yeah,
miss a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
some level of
A villain that
vulnerability.
can emote.
Yeah, And like when she
Yeah.
kind of dismissed Dr. Tarabi, it kind of felt like this is her kind of abandoning her humanity now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Again, which was a big turning point. Because at that point,
Mm.
she thought she was. Was it after that she then said that, or she suggested that Jane kills Presley?
Yes.
It was after that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But kind of sort of suggested it, but not really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a great point. But yeah, she was amazing. She was absolutely incredible.
Let's get into the big one, the finale. Now, before I went into the finale, I was already disappointed,
Oh,
unfortunately.
why?
All the way through, I've liked how long and well paced the episodes have been. The finale is the shortest episode.
Oh, I didn't actually realize that.
So
That's
every
true.
episode is
Okay.
between 49 to 59 minutes. The finale comes in at 47.
Oh, okay. I
So
didn't
it
realize that.
does feel rushed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. And that was a shame for me coming out of watching the episode, right? Like I guess we've all been looking forward to seeing how they're going to tie up this story. Yeah, rushed is definitely a feeling that I got watching it,
Mm. Which is a shame.
which is a shame. Yeah, which is a
A
real
shame.
shame. Like I just felt like I was just very deflated after watching it. Like a whole lot of expectation with not really a lot of like bang for your buck, for lack of a better phrase. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and
But
the pacing did feel a bit rushed for sure.
to pull away from the doom and gloom, let's go into it. If you are watching this, we've been reasonably spoiler free,
Yeah,
I'd say, apart from a couple of things. If you haven't watched Paradise yet, this one will ruin the experience for you. So if you haven't, make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you back here soon. Um, but we're going deep into it now. The librarian,
yeah,
or the project manager, he went through a lot of different phases, which we'll go through. Yeah, we obviously found out he was the guy that killed Cal.
mm-hmm.
And I do think his motives were logical, and I think there's enough to understand
100%.
as to why he did what he did. Despite how great episode 7 was, I would have liked to have seen the telling of his downfall, I guess, to
Mm-hmm.
killing Cal go through 2 episodes. I don't think doing it all in one
I'd agree with
worked,
that.
but I've got to say, when they revealed that he was the guy that shot in the first episode, I was just like, yeah, this show is just next level.
Yeah, yeah, like that link. So when we saw him like kind of connecting the dots and having his like board up, the dots started to
Yeah.
connect for me that he might have been the one who tried to kill Cal in the beginning. And like you're right, his motivations I think were definitely justified, although probably misaligned. Like because I don't think Cal, obviously to him, Cal's the president of the United States, right? So the most powerful person in America. But we all know that Cal was probably just as much of a victim as everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and the person responsible for the survival of the human race, right? So it's almost like, you were kind of angry at you were at the right person, but also at the
Yeah.
wrong person at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was crazy. Then obviously seeing the uniform with the logo at the back, and it was like, okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. It's definitely
Also,
one of these guys.
the scene that's from like episode 4
Right.
or 6, or when he makes the mixtape.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, the
Yeah.
fact that was actually seen in the show, but we just didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I remember talking with my friend about this because I was like, I remember when he went to the library to make the mixtape, and I remember saying like, I think he did something to that mixtape, but like they just never made any reference to it afterwards. So I was like, I just thought maybe I was wrong. Like I must be wrong. They've not really harkened back to it at all. But yeah, that was like a pivotal moment that they just kind of breezed past, clearly on purpose, right? But they just kind of
Yeah.
breezed past it.
But that is where also I have my problem with the finale. While that's cool, I would have loved this guy to be popping up all season and we didn't know.
That would have been amazing. That would
And
have
then
been
at the
amazing.
end, I was here, I was here, I was here, I was here, but none of
Mhm.
you saw.
Yeah.
He was like, he's in shot. I love it when a show does the retrospective thing. you want to go back and see if you can spot them in the
Yeah.
scene, or if they
Like, oh, did you
coming
notice
off
that
as
in the
love
moment?
that stuff.
'Cause they sort of
Yeah,
did it with the waitress, but again, not really enough. But like she's kind of been there, but
Mm,
it never really was insidious. I think I agree with you. I think if he was a more active participant in the story throughout,
yeah,
the reveal of him being the person who murdered Cal would have probably hit a lot harder than it
hmm
did, because it just felt a little bit random that it was him.
yeah. Because even like that is one of my big hates with TV shows, is when you build these characters up for 7 episodes, and then in the finale you're like, oh, here's these people that are now really important, and we're
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
rush
yeah,
them.
yeah, 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 yeah. You hit the nail on the head there. You hit the nail on the head. 'Cause that is what it felt like.
You could arguably say that the Billy Pace episode isn't necessarily needed because of how quickly he is gone.
It's true, but
You
I
could
think
bunch it down, put episode 7 to 6, and then make 8, 7, and 8.
yeah. But I would where I would counter the Billy Pace episode. I think it shows that nobody is safe, because
Yeah.
it felt like he had a bit of plot armor, right? He's Xavier's best friend. He's dating Jane. Like, he's an integral part of the story, and they spend the whole episode getting you to really like him, even after throwing so much suspicion at him in episode 3, and then he's dead. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
For me, that episode really represented that it could be anybody,
Yeah.
and nobody is safe from
Mhm.
consequence ultimately. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do know what you mean there. I think there's definitely an element where both could be true. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I love the series. I just love the series.
It's so
I love the
If you
series.
haven't, if you did stick around for the spoilers and you haven't seen it, please watch it.
Just watch the show. Like, you won't regret
This
it.
is not an ad. We're not paid to say
At
this.
all.
Watch the
I
show.
would love it if Disney paid me, but I'm telling you for free. This show is incredible, and you're not going to be upset watching it. Honest, and you know what? The fact that it's an 8 episode run probably is one of its probably down points, but it also, for me, makes it less intimidating to binge, because it's not 10 to 13 episodes.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So
I'd also argue that's what makes it more commendable, is to compare it to this feels disgusting, but the MCU shows with their 6 episode
mm,
short form formula
mm,
that just feels like you could cut bits out and make this a movie.
yeah,
This is only 2 episodes longer. Every scene is warranted, needed, add
hmm,
something.
hmm,
It's great.
hmm,
And arguably, I think it needs more.
yeah, 100%.
So the 8 episode structure works really well. So I think that's a commendable point for it, because it is a large story in scope and scale, and to be able to tell it out in 8 episodes is crazy. It's not even 8 hours long.
That's very true. Also very true. It definitely needed 2 more episodes, but I think you're right. To do what it
Mhm.
did in the 8 that it had, incredible job.
Yeah,
I
I
would
think it
not
greatly
be,
benefit from 2 more. I
yeah,
agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if season 2 is 10 episodes. Like, Disney and
I
or
think after
Hulu,
the response,
yeah,
they'll get credit for it.
yeah, they should get more money. Like, I would not be surprised. I think they know there's an audience for it now. So, and people are going to be looking for it. So I'd be disappointed if it's another 8 episode run. Obviously,
Mhm.
look, I'm not a writer, so I would trust them to know what they're doing with their story. But,
Yeah.
but I hope that they would hopefully get more money to work with, and they take advantage of the
Mhm.
additional resources, because they've earned it. Do you know what I mean? There's so
Oh,
many
absolutely.
times, like, it's not often that you get to watch a show and you're like, yeah, you've earned my attention. Like, I'm here, I'm with you. Like, I feel satisfied as a consumer of your content. Do you know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
and it's not really often you come out of watching a long form piece of content like a series, and you feel like, yeah, I got what I paid for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, who
Mhm.
knows? Fingers crossed.
I got a question for you.
Go on.
How many seasons do you think it's going to have?
in my head, in my head, I would like to see no more than 3, if I'm honest with you.
That's what I'm thinking.
I, again, I'm not a writer, and if there's a way to flesh the story out to 4 to 5, cool, as long as it's done with like integrity and the quality's there, fantastic, right? But in my mind, your main stories are going to be Xavier finding his wife
Hmm.
and convincing her to come back with him, right? And the consequence of whatever happens in season 2. That kind of being
Yeah.
the summary. So it will either be all of the people on Earth come into the compound, or they get all the people out of the compound back to Earth. Like, there's not really much else that you can do with Xavier's story anyway. Like, maybe the way to extend it is you do a time skip and you move it from these characters that we're used to seeing. But in terms of Xavier's story and his family and these characters, I don't
Hmm.
really want to see more than 2 more seasons of this show. I think 3
Yeah.
would be just enough for me, anyway.
I think what was in my mind and my theory was the same amount of seasons. Was this next season is a lot more bigger in scale. It's a lot more. What's the word? Explorative's not a word. I'm making it a word.
It lands.
A
I know what
lot
you're trying to
more
say.
exploring Xavier looking around for his family,
Yeah.
his wife,
Yeah.
and then when we get to season 3, so I think season 2 is going to be a lot more of exploring. We're going to go back out. We're going to go out into Earth, see what it looks. We haven't seen what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know what it looks
Yeah.
like. So do that. I'm sure it's going to be a long conspiracy process to find his wife.
Yeah.
It's not just going to be, oh, there you are.
Yeah.
And then I think, this is my personal theory, I'd like to see season 3 end where the technology used to create this bubble of paradise is then the technology used to encapsulate the Earth,
Yeah. Okay.
and Earth becomes paradise.
Okay. Okay. I see it. I don't know how they can do that. I see where you're going with it.
My logic is if they can build an underground city that functions like that, they
True.
can do it to.
So, okay, so here's my question for you. Would you want season 2 to focus purely on Xavier and him kind of exploring what the outside world looks like and him interacting with his wife and the potential survivors, right? Focus
Mhm.
purely there, or do you want it to be split between the outside world and what's happening back in paradise?
I think I want it to be split
Yeah, okay. I'd agree.
purely because I think Sinatra's alive.
Yeah, one.
So what is she up to? I also want to see, how do I put this politely? Jane.
Yeah, yeah. She 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 deserves her comeuppance. It's basically the nicest way I can put it. She needs
Yeah.
she needs to reap what she sowed, because the fact that the series ends with her playing Nintendo Wii does not feel right to me
Mhm.
at all.
Sadistic.
Very much so. Very, very, very much so. So, yes.
I'm also certain that Sinatra's not going to be too happy with the fact that Xavier's just gone back out.
See, I don't know, because in theory, right, that kind of solves her problem. I think because he's not there, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
unless he comes back, then there's a problem to deal with. But he's not there, so he can't cause trouble. I think her next issue is twofold. It's going to be regaining control from the vice president, who stepped up to kind of get all the billionaires on side, right?
Mhm.
Because they had quite a contentious relationship throughout. She
Yeah.
didn't really rate him at all, right?
Mhm.
So I think there's something to be said there. And I also think that there would be, or rather, I'm hoping there's going to be a plot point that explores Cal's kid and what he
Yeah,
does with the information he has.
yeah, kind of forgot about him.
Yeah, because he has all this information, right? And
Yeah.
his dad's encouraged him in his recording to like change the world as he sees it, right? So it's like, is he now going to go around and try and gather like-minded people to leave? Is there going to be like some kind of internal civil war with people who are trying to leave and
Yeah.
Sinatra's faction who might want to stay? Like, I think there could be something really interesting to be done with that plot point, which should also include Xavier's kids, and also the plot point that his kids are now with Robinson and the neighbor, and they're probably not going to listen to them. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of contextuous there, like between those characters as well. So I'll be really intrigued to see if they actually explore that. And I would be disappointed if it's just Xavier and his wife focused. Do you know what I mean? As amazing as Sterling is,
Hmm.
I just don't want it to be all about him in season 2.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. Before we probably go into wrapping this up, there's one bit from the finale that's just popped back into my head that I
Yeah.
completely forgot to mention. I did not put together that the numbers on the cigarette was a book in the library, and
Me
that was
neither. Me
so
neither.
damn good. I
Me
was like,
neither.
what you guys are cooked. Like, I appreciate how hard it is to write a TV show. I very much appreciate how hard it is to write a TV show. But the amount of links between
Yeah.
episodes and
Yeah.
pre-planning, future planning, middle planning that went into this, it's like I don't get it, but it works and it's
Yeah.
great, and I'm so
It's
glad that they
true.
can do it because it's
It's
so fun to
true.
watch.
Because
But
I thought that code was like the link. Because earlier on in one of the episodes, Xavier's Presley and Cal's kid, I can't remember his name. They went underground and got onto like a plane. So I thought the code was maybe to access like the plane for whatever reason, or like
yeah,
maybe he hid something underground and that was the code he needed to access it. The
yeah,
fact that it was a book, and also the nuance that it was the book right underneath the book about Frank Sinatra, and the book was called The Man Who Keeps All the Secrets. I was like, yeah, that's crazy. I was like, you guys are doing too
yeah.
much, man. You guys are
I
going
was
crazy
it
with
was I was thinking so basic. I was like, "Oh, I think it's the password to the tablet."
it. Okay, I
But then they
didn't.
were like, "Oh, it's handprint." So it's obviously like that. I was like, "That's how basic my brain works." If I was in a thriller, I'd be stuffed. But yeah, no, I think to start closing this off, an incredible series,
100%.
fantastic performances. Can't wait to see where it goes. Can't wait to keep telling people to watch it. Can't wait to hear people's reactions when they do watch it. Anything else from yourself?
No, listen, I echo all of your sentiments. Like, was it Dan Fogelman, like the showrunners, Sterling K, James Marsden? I have no hair, but hats off to you because amazing, amazing show. Like,
Yeah,
I
incredible across the board.
can't really say much more than fantastic job. Keep it up. Don't drop the ball.
Yeah,
Basically.
keep it rolling.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be coming for you otherwise. But yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic show.
All right, that is all we have time for today. But big thanks once again to KWAME for joining me for this review. I'm sure he'll pop up on the channel again real soon. But
This will be
also,
soon.
while he's here, make sure to go follow the watch list on all socials. His links will be down in the description. Make sure to follow me on all the socials and also make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a future video. But thank you so much for watching. Let us know your thoughts on Paradise in the comments and we will catch you in the next one.